So I just stumbled across this post on Reddit a few days ago, and I have to say, normally this does not happen to me. I don't let things like this get to me or bother me, but I actually felt a little triggered, you guys, after reading this post and some of the comments that followed, and I'm going to share that with you and kind of go into what it is that I saw, what it is that kind of got me riled up, and my thoughts, comments, opinions about it. As y'all know, the new Barbie movie was just recently released with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, Kate McKinnon. I have to say I was a little skeptical at first, like many other people, trying to picture a blonde Ryan Gosling on the beach with a six-pack playing Ken with Barbie and everything is just not gonna work. And I have to say, after watching the movie, I was surprised. I was surprised that he pulled it off. The movie actually was too bad. You know, a movie with a positive message, kind of lighthearted, about finding your way in the world and your purpose, basically your impact that you have on others and on the world in general. If you think of movies like The Truman Show and The Lego Movie, where basically it's like a fantasy world or something that's not reality being injected into the real world, that's basically what the premise of this movie is. Not to spoil anything for those of you who haven't really seen it. Overall, not a bad movie. When websites like Rotten Tomatoes are giving it positive reviews for the most part, you know it's got to be halfway decent. Not too bad, but again, this video is not about the movie, it's not a review of the movie, this is about how it relates to reselling. Of course, naturally, with the hype surrounding the movie and the popularity in the movie, and then of course with Mattel releasing dolls based on the movie, it was no surprise that the sales of Barbie dolls took off and started growing exponentially. And let's not forget about the new life-size Barbie box trend, which I'm sure all of us have at least one friend on social media who has a picture of. Essentially, what you have here is a doll which is based on a movie that's based on a doll. Crazy, right? But it worked. Mattel knew it was going to work, but I don't think they anticipated how well these dolls were going to sell. Even though it should have been pretty obvious, given that if you look at Mattel's site, they have a whole collector section dedicated to it, with the word collectible plastered in the title. We all know what happens whenever companies do that. And look at this Mattel creation section with all this Barbie merch plastered on their page. And then even Old Navy, Bloomingdale's, and Hot Topic have joined on the bandwagon and signed up. So there was a huge marketing campaign for these dolls. So what happened is they started selling really quickly based on the popularity of the movie. Retailers couldn't keep them on the shelves. Then resellers saw this as an opportunity and decided, you know what, this is becoming popular, this looks like it's going to be a trend, we're going to buy these up and resell them online. As with anything else that has become popular or has a lot of hype surrounding it in the past. If you think of the PS5 when it came out, if you think of Furbies when they came out. Tickle Me Elmo, oh my god, that was like a scalper's dream. Tamagotchi, I don't know if y'all remember that back in the 90s, that was really popular, that was a hit. Certain things that people would buy up and then turn around and resell them because they knew that they were hard to find. And pretty much almost any next-gen console or highly anticipated item this happens with, so it's nothing new. But does it make it right? Well, here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, if you think of like Antiques Roadshow, American Pickers, you know, a shop with the metal signs and like glassware, old Coke bottles and Clorox bottles, or just collectibles, old toys from your childhood, going to Goodwill, Facebook Marketplace, resale shops, thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, those kind of things to find the items you're looking for. It could be brand new in the box items, maybe new old stock, so still something from the past. That's the majority of what we sell. Some people are everything sellers, some people sell in a specific niche, but when it boils down to it, it's going to usually still be stuff that's pre-owned. Just depends on what's readily available in your area. They've identified opportunities where they can resell these items and make a profit. Yes, obviously we do want to make a profit. Why does anybody run a business? Why does anybody work in a job? They have to earn a living because you have to be able to make money to support yourself. Why not be able to support yourself doing something you enjoy? I don't define success as how much money you make. I define success by whether or not you're happy with what you're doing in life. Like a wise philosopher once said, you may have heard of him, his name is Confucius, choose a job that you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And that is so true. That's what I live by pretty much. People think they're successful because they make a lot of money, they have a nice house, a fancy car. That's not it. If you're happy with yourself, happy with what you're doing, if you're satisfied, if you feel like you're on the right path, and you feel fulfilled, that's what the true goal should be. So I guess that's overall why I felt the way I did when I read that post. I kind of saw it a little bit as a personal attack, just not just Barbie resellers, but resellers in general. We're portrayed as like these greedy monsters who are taking away from the poor and giving to the rich. You know, the opposite of Robin Hood. And I took a little offense to that, but it's okay, because then I reminded myself, not everyone's going to agree with you. No matter what you're doing, you're going to have haters, you're going to have people that oppose what you're doing and have their own opinions, and that's okay. And the sooner you accept that, the better off you will be. I enjoy what I do. I take what I do seriously because I treat it like a business. Some people are resellers and they're just hobby resellers, and that's okay. Me personally, this is how I make a living. I've done it for many years. Over the years, I've learned different things. It's not always glorious. It's a lot of work. It's really hard work. So if you know anyone that's a reseller, or if you're one yourself, you can definitely relate when I tell you that it is a lot of work. So on to the juicy stuff. When I go online and I'm reading a post and I see people attacking the way some people earn a living or make their money, I do take a little bit of an issue with it. You may not agree with what someone is doing, you may not do it yourself, but that doesn't mean that you have to attack someone else for what they're doing. So let me read you this post I found. Anyone else feel a little sad and kind of bitter about the people reselling dolls by the dozen for 3 times the price? It seems like there's no limit to how many you can order online or buy in store, since some resellers I've seen have huge inventories of them sold at high prices. All I want is one Western Barbie from the movie, that's it. Anytime I see people online that have like 8 dolls that they're putting the different outfits on, my heart sinks a little bit more too. I really don't want to give in and buy one secondhand at a steep markup, but it's looking like that'll happen eventually. So right off the bat, you can tell that not only is this person a little bitter and upset that resellers are finding an opportunity and making money from it, but they're trying to recruit other people to feel the way they do because, you know, the old saying, misery likes company. So they want to feel like they're not the only ones that feel this way and try and recruit all these people, or basically have people agree with them and saying, yeah, so do I, me too. That's the whole reason for a post like this. So listen to some of these comments. This one says, "It's also making me sad that people seem to be clearing out secondhand stores and reselling for higher prices. When I was a child, we were not well off, so my Barbies were always from pre-loved stores or markets. It makes me sad that kids out there now perhaps can't get a Barbie because greedy people bought them all to resell. Hopefully, once the hype dies down, people will donate them in droves and they can be enjoyed by the less fortunate once more." How dare these greedy resellers, these resellers that actually want to bring products to people who want them, how dare they try and earn a living by buying things at a lower price and selling it for a higher price? Now stop right there. I know what you're thinking. Yes, there are some resellers that purely do it for greed, because they see an opportunity. Oh, I'm going to buy this doll for 50 bucks. I'm going to turn around and sell it for 100, 150, 200 because I know there's some people out there that want it bad enough and they'll pay that. I wouldn't necessarily take that approach. I couldn't do that with a clear conscience. However, I am not going to feel bad about going to places like Goodwill, Salvation Army, other resale shops and thrift stores, finding items that are just sitting on the shelf, because let's face it, I know Goodwill has a mission to try and help their employees, bring jobs to the marketplace, but sometimes we all know that they get a little ridiculous with the pricing. They also have their website where they sell things at auction, and I think they could be a little more reasonable, but they chose to increase the prices of their items. Why? Because unfortunately, the trickle-down effect of people like us making videos showing, hey, I found this thing at $10 for Goodwill and sold it for $100 on eBay. It's a double-edged sword. So unfortunately, yes, we try and help others by sharing what we do, but in the process, we may also be harming ourselves somewhat. And the whole thing of it is, we do what we do, at least I know I do what I do, because I, number one, like finding things that are maybe overlooked. If I can find something here and bring it to someone somewhere else who's looking for it, then I see it as kind of a finder service, and I get a finder's fee, and that makes me happy. If I can bring joy to someone's life by finding something that they will get enjoyment out of and selling it to them for a slight markup because of my time I spent finding it, my time spent listing photos, packing it up, shipping it, and answering questions on eBay, then I'm okay with that. And if I'm not hurting anyone else by doing so, what's it to them? If I'm not doing anything that affects you or hurts you. But from what this person says, it's like we're taking things that other people might be able to enjoy who are less fortunate, we're taking it away from them and offering it to someone else. I'm sure you guys have experienced it too, but for the most part, the people I know seem to have a positive opinion of resellers. I guess it just kind of struck a nerve a little bit because it's like demonizing, kind of villainizing resellers, and that's not what we're about at all. So this is another one of the comments that someone piggybacked off of, commenting on someone else's comment to the post, and it says this: And this is why when I was finally ready to part with my collection of well-loved dolls, except for the few that were very meaningful to me, I tried to find kids in need to give them to. There were some dolls that I barely played with too, and I could have sold them for a profit, but decided to give them all away for free. And this is also why I want to start buying, when I can, dolls that are on clearance and then try to forward them to kids who otherwise wouldn't have them. It's going to be a lot harder goal to carry out if greedy people are buying them all out just to sell for a profit. So, I don't know, it's just the audacity of this person. So if it was me, I'm such a good person that I wouldn't sell them even if I knew I could. I would give them all away and donate them because there are people less fortunate. That's kind of presumptuous because you don't know someone's situation. What if these people are selling these dolls because their kids really need school supplies or clothes, or they need to supplement their income because they are working 2 jobs and they can't make ends meet? You're assuming that you know someone else's situation when really you have no clue, and you're just making assumptions, you're making bold statements, generalizations really, about a whole entire group of people without really knowing the situation. Yes, there are greedy people out there. I'm not going to say there aren't, but you can't assume that everyone is greedy, that everyone who's a reseller is doing this for that reason. There is such a thing as being unethical and being excessive. I agree, but if you're reasonable about it and you're asking reasonable prices for the things that you're selling and you're not hurting anyone in the process, I don't really see where the big issue is. That is my take on things. Personally, when I do retail arbitrage, what I'll usually do is I'll head up the clearance section, see what they have. If there's anything good that I know I can turn a decent profit, I'll buy it because it's stuff the store was wanting to get rid of anyway and mark it down. If I can turn a profit on that stuff and it's easy to sell, why not? I can honestly say I do things guilt-free, I have a clear conscience, but I'm not going to knock someone else for doing what works for them just because I choose not to do it. When I come out with these new videos, my personal goal is to try and improve the quality of the content each time. As I get more experience, I'm trying to get better and better. Hopefully you kind of felt that way when you watched this video, maybe just a little bit. If you don't want to miss any updates, guys, subscribe. If you don't want to miss any new videos I put out, I do all kinds of different topics, all kinds of different types of videos. If you enjoyed it, drop a comment, feel free to share the video, and otherwise, I will catch you on the next one. Peace!